cat is coming. Come get the truth.
Namaste! Grand Rising, Big Cat. Welcome or welcome back to Big Cat Astrology, Big Cat Wave, as we unpack the full supermoon, the cold moon in Gemini at 13 degrees. Exposing the truth roof, pinkies up, worldwide. On the 4th of December 2025. The world enters December under a sky that refuses to lie as the full supermoon, the full cold moon in Gemini at 13 degrees turns whispers into broadcasts and secrets into breadcrumb trails. Governments will feel it first. Gemini rules communications and the public begins demanding truth that they cannot escape. Financial markets wobble like a three-legged table as fragile confidence is exposed. The tech giants scramble as the glitches, leaks and unexpected outages reveal their systems were never secure. Global logistics slow as Mercury's pre-shadow tangles transport routes and delays pile-ups. Military movements tense up quietly as diplomatic masts start cracking. What the world calls stability gets exposed as performance under Gemini's lens. Flooding and storms split and escalate as Gemini's air currents misbehave across multiple regions. Weather patterns act like they inhaled 6 espressos, scattered, sharp and chaotic. AI and predictive systems glitch as the Palladian electromagnetic fields spike. AI Atlas type anomalies rise. Old satellite paths, strange lights, unexpected signals. Bestie, something is trying to make contact, guys. And the moon is an unsupervised antenna. Political figures with shaky reputations get cooked as leaks drop faster than they can bury them. The moon favors whistleblowers, receipt holders and investigators and anyone who deals in facts. Liars and manipulators crumble. Gemini doesn't play. Nervous systems spike globally. Anger, overthinking, insomnia, chaotic outbursts. Big Cat, they are clutching their pearls, guys, clutching their pearls. Eastern red zones activate quietly while public narratives stay tightly controlled. Mercury floods the world with information. Too much noise, not enough truth. Governments use confusion to slide hidden policies in unnoticed. The desert crown block strengthens quietly. Alliances, which I'm not going to mention on here. Energy prices fluctuate emotionally instead of logically. Gemini exposes every place where confidence was performance. Cybersecurity attacks surge across Gemini fields, communication, travel, data, aerospace. Expect one global outage, one major leak, and one digital scandal. Migration routes strain as instability rises. Airlines struggle with overbooking, cruise shortages, and lost luggage. Pure Mercury chaos. Protests grow as the air sign moon awakens the collective voice. Even people who usually stay quiet feel compelled to speak up. Scientists will release softened reports about atmospheric anomalies. This is the first full moon in decades where truth outruns the agenda. Alcyone, the fixed star of vision, sharpens global perception. Old illusions crack under facts, patterns and evidence. The moon forces the world to face what it avoided. So Big Cat, guess what? Ready or not, the truth breaks through every single crack. The full moon in Gemini at 13 degrees. The Alcyone revelation. rises like a cosmic loudspeaker, exposing everything you tried to postpone or pretend wasn't urgent. This moon behaves like a mirror with attitude, showing you every part of yourself you left unfinished or ignored. Plugged into Alchemy, the Palladian eye, the moon turns private suspicion into public revelations. Alcyone doesn't just expose the truth, it broadcasts it in wide open view of everyone. Emotional energy rises sharply as the moon presses on your subconscious truth centers. Under this moon, your feelings don't whisper, they shout. With Mercury, the ruler of this particular moon, it activates your mind and it becomes a forensic investigator. Your intuition feels like it's working a night shift with receipts. Gemini rules the lungs, arms, shoulders and hands, and voice. The parts of the body that store the truth roof. Pinkies up. Gemini tightens the chest when you lie and releases it when you finally speak. The moon exposes communication habits, trust issues and unspoken emotions. Truth doesn't arrive gently. It hits like a notification you can't unread. With the sun, Sagittarius at 13 degrees opposing the moon, contradictions get exposed instantly. Sagittarius demands higher truth. Gemini demands facts. This moon demands both. Ha ha! Let the games begin. Minds will sharpen. Manipulation will lose power. People will stop skimming headlines and start reading between the lines. Hidden patterns in relationships, finances, and institutions rise to the surface. Nothing true can stay buried under this lunation. Sudden clarity hits like psychic lightning. Alcyone triggers memory. Your body remembers what your mind forgot. Communication becomes the battlefield. Texts, emails, screenshot, tone, timing, good golly and the gosh. This moon turns you into a walking lie detector. Mentally, it feels like opening 360 browser tabs, but the truth stands out crystal clear. This moon gives you a truth you cannot unsee. Spirit uses this lunation as liberation, not comfort. This is not a soft healing. This is a consequences healing kind of a thing. The throat chakra demands honesty. The lungs demand emotional release. The nervous system demands boundaries. Gemini demands tell the truth to yourself first. And if you're having trouble with telling yourself the truth, I suggest you go straight to a mirror. Look deep into your eye chakras and then slap the shiznai out of yourself until truth prevails. A conversation or a message cracks open a stagnant storyline. It might sting, but it will save you. People expose themselves with their own words. Secrets choke under this moon's light. Clarity wins over every single time. Your intuition says, I warned you. The world shakes because minds are awakening. Your personal world shifts because you finally see clearly. Once you see the truth under this moon, you cannot unsee it. Not today, not next week, not this lifetime. The full moon in Gemini falls on a universal day of a 7, the number of revelation and spiritual investigation. Day 7 energy makes intuition sharp, direct, and impossible to ignore. Thoughts sharpen and motives become clearer. Your intuition turns into forensic psychology. Day 7 strips away distractions and shortcuts. This is the read the fine print energy. Dreams carry coded messages. Signs sync up until you can't deny what you're seeing. You must believe your eye chakras. Solitude becomes necessary for clarity. Closure arrives through truth, not softness. Gemini rules the lungs, arms, shoulders, hands, wrists, and nervous system. These parts store the truth, tension, and unexpected speech. Tight shoulders show emotional burdens you shouldn't be carrying. Tingling hands, psychic downloads hitting the nervous system. Shallow breathing reveals fear over avoidance. Lung pressure exposes where you've been emotionally suffocating. Weak wrists show where you've been holding on to expired narratives. Gemini triggers the throat plus the chest tension when you avoid speaking your truth. Roof, pinkies up. Physical release, yawns, sighs, stretches, signals emotional release. The body speaks before the mouth does. Medical caution. Avoids elective surgery to the Gemini-ruled areas within the next 48 hours of this particular full moon. The full moon increases swelling, bleeding, and nerve sensitivity. Respiratory or nerve procedures may react unpredictably. The nervous system is too reactive for invasive action. Miscommunication in medical settings is more likely. This is a time for clarity, not cutting. Favoured for journaling, stretching, breath work, and energetic healing. Gemini heals through expression, not incisions. Tight chest equals emotional truth rising. Speak your healing before you seek it externally. Unless it's an emergency. If it's an emergency, you get to that doctor, that medical center, wherever. Because life is very important and none of us know the day, the hour, or the minute when our time is up. The aspects. The first aspect is Mercury at 8 degrees in Sagittarius, squaring Saturn at 8 degrees in Pisces. This turns communication into karmic checkpoints where every word carries weight. This aspect exposes irresponsible messages, broken promises, and emotional cowardice. You feel pressure to talk about what you've avoided because Saturn refuses bypassing. People reveal themselves through delays, hesitations, tone, or silence. This square forces you to confront old communication patterns that kept you small. You see exactly who used, confused, as manipulation. Saturn slows Mercury so you hear what's said beneath the surface. Hidden paperwork issues or admin errors come to light. Global messaging becomes contradictory as institutions try to spin the narrative. Your intuition becomes sharper than official statements. This transit strengthens the full moon's truth-telling power. Accountability becomes non-negotiable in every area of life. Aspect number 2. Mars in Gemini at 7 degrees, trining the moon in Gemini at 13 degrees. It ignites courage like a spark hitting dry intuition. This aspect gives you strength to say what you were too tired or too scared to voice. Conversations become bold and most honest. Your voice becomes your sharpest weapon. You confront situations you've been tolerating for far too long. The trine clears emotional paralysis and sparks fast action. You walk away, walk towards, or walk through exactly what you need to. Boundaries become firm, clean, and unapologetic. Opportunities appear the moment you speak the truth. Your confidence rises as your spirit matches your mind. Mars fuels the moon, revelations and convictions. This aspect turns truth into movement and momentum. Aspect 3. Jupiter in Cancer at 23 degrees, squaring the moon at 13 degrees. Jupiter amplifies every revelation. Subtle insight becomes bold. Unavoidable truth, emotional patterns suddenly become clear. You see who fed you and who drained you. Jupiter expands awareness around emotional armor. Manipulation, guilt tripping, and control will get exposed. This square shows you the bigger version of yourself. The truth gets too big to ignore or minimize. Emotional decisions ripple into every area of life. You outgrow limits that you thought were permanent. The full moon becomes a turning point of emotional elevation. Jupiter rewards honesty with growth and alignment. Aspect number 4. Pluto in Aquarius at 2 degrees, trining the moon in Gemini. It pulls truth from the shadows with surgical precision. This aspect exposes motives that were disguised as kindness. Hidden power dynamics and buried resentment comes forward. Pluto removes illusions you weren't ready to question. Psychic clarity heightens sharply. This isn't intuition, this is X-ray perception. Old narratives dissolve under this truth. Your spiritual discernment becomes impossible to fool. Emotional detox unfolds. Power returns to you as you detach from emotional manipulation. Identity shifts occur as old wounds stop controlling choices. Pluto guarantees permanent mental transformation. Aspect number 5. Neptune in Pisces at 20 degrees squares Mercury in Sagittarius at 8 degrees. It dissolves illusions by exposing the lie behind the lie. This aspect exposes hidden agendas and misleading narratives. Confusion rises first, but clarity hits suddenly when the veil rips. You see through emotional mirages and fake narratives. Denial becomes impossible under this square. Dreams become prophetic and symbolic. Reality gets louder. Fantasy. World events reveal secret motivations. Your intuition outruns every explanation. This square intensifies the moon's truth revelation. The truth cuts through illusions so cleanly that you can never, ever go back. Aspect number 6. Venus in Scorpio at 5 degrees quincunx the moon in Gemini at 13 degrees. Exposes emotional mismatch and hidden resentment. This aspect reveals where you gave too much and received too little. Old desires and unspoken expectations will rise. You will see exactly where compatibility was forced. Emotional discomfort becomes impossible to ignore. Behavior finally outspeaks words. You recognize the drainers versus the restorers instantly. Venus forces emotional edits where you used to people please. Aspect number 7. Uranus in Taurus at 25 degrees in a semi-sextile to the moon in Gemini at 13 degrees. It delivers sudden insight and unexpected shocks. The truth drops in abruptly, but exactly on time. Tech glitches or slips reveal hidden information. Accidental messages expose what was concealed. Financial or behavioral inconsistencies will surface. Uranus shakes you out of routine and into clarity. Something you thought was stable shifts quickly. Intuition hits like electricity. Fast, sharp, undeniable. Under the full cold moon in Gemini at 13 degrees, the global winners are truth tellers. They will rise and become the dominant force under this moon. Whistleblowers, investigators, receipt holders, fact-based thinkers gain undeniable power as lies collapse. Air signs and air industries, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, benefit from clarity, innovation, and quick mental movement. Tech, communication, aviation, and digital platforms experience breakthroughs and rapid shifts. People recovering voice reclaim a confidence and speak with clarity and strength. Anyone who has been silenced, gaslit, doubted, or dismissed will step into powerful comeback energy. Strategic nations, the quiet ones, intelligence systems, and the financial alert gain advantage through preparation and discretion. Those who plan ahead, stay informed and keep receipts received will get protection and progress. People doing shadow work rise rapidly because emotional honesty aligns them with the moon's energy. The self-aware are rewarded for their growth as Mercury and Saturn supports maturity and accountability. Budgeters, planners, and cautious investors gain clarity and stability. Gemini rewards those who read the fine print and make informed financial moves. Receipt holders gain leverage as documentation becomes decisive evidence. Screenshots, emails, and contracts bring sudden justice and undeniable truth. The global losers? Liars, manipulators, gaslighters lose power as every hidden motive will surface. This moon destroys deceptive strategies as Neptune rips illusions and Pluto exposes the truth roof. Pinkies up. People who avoid accountability face unavoidable confrontations and consequences and ramifications. Anyone hiding, dodging, ghosting, or performing gets cornered by reality. Institutions built on secrecy experience exposure and public scrutiny. Healthcare, education, data, housing, border control, and financial systems with hidden issues get revealed. Fragile leaders crack under the pressure when competence, not charisma, is required. Those who rely on image rather than substance fall apart under this moon. Tech companies with weak security experience breaches, leaks, and digital failures. Uranus disrupts unstable systems with outages, errors, and accidental exposures. One-sided relationships reach breaking point as imbalances become undeniable. Venus and Gemini energy forces clarity around emotional fairness and reciprocity. Countries already in crisis feel intensified instability and pressure. We do not name them for safety, but the red zones, desert loops, and triangle regions experience significant strain. Delusional thinkers lose direction as illusions collapse. Neptune strips fantasy, Saturn enforces reality, and Gemini provides the receipts. To follow is the breakdown for all 12 zodiac signs. Aries, the full moon in Gemini is in your third house of communication and siblings. The full moon exposes hidden truths in your third house, revealing real motives behind conversations with siblings, neighbors, or close contacts. Jupiter amplifies mixed messages, guilt trips, and manipulative communication until you snap back into your power. Pluto uncovers the intention behind someone's silence, avoidance, or selective truth. Mercury and Saturn drags old emails, paperwork, or leftover conversations back into the light. Venus exposes emotional exchanges where you have overgiven, over-explained, or over-accommodated. Mars trining the moon gives you the boldness to speak directly without fear or apology. You stop explaining yourself to people who never intended to understand you. Aries, this is your verbal emancipation, your voice, your truth, your terms. Taurus, the full moon in Gemini is in your second house of money and self-worth. This is the moon that highlights your second house, exposing financial leaks, energetic drains, and outdated beliefs about your value. Jupiter magnifies a financial truth you can no longer ignore. Reality replaces wishful thinking. Pluto pushes you to confront where you've undervalued yourself or compromised your worth. Mercury and Saturn uncovers contracts, statements, or responsibilities that demand accountability. Venus exposes emotional or financial exchanges where you poured in more than you received. Mars gives you the confidence to raise your prices, standards, and expectations. You clearly see who benefits when you doubt yourself, and the cycle ends now. The moon resets your value system. So Taurus, your worth will rise and your tolerance will drop. Gemini, the full moon in Gemini is in your first house of identity and reinvention. The full moon in your sign exposes the truth about who you are now versus who you've been performing as. The sun opposite the moon reveals a persona you can no longer carry. The mask is heavy. Pluto strips away illusions around your identity, showing what is authentic and what is outdated. Jupiter expands your self-image and pushes you into a new era of growth. Mercury and Saturn reveal habits or thought patterns that keep blocking your evolution. Mars gives you courage to take action instead of analyzing yourself into exhaustion. Someone's reaction to your growth exposes their true intentions. Gemini, this is your rebirth, unfiltered, unmasked, and undeniable. Cancer, the full moon in Gemini is in your 12th house of secrets and the subconscious. The moon drags suppressed emotions, dreams, and memories into the light of resolution. Neptune reveals the illusions you used to comfort yourself and which ones have been holding you back. Pluto uncovers hidden motives behind someone's behavior, especially emotional manipulation. Jupiter confirms a secret you felt intuitively but didn't want to face. Saturn and Mercury forces boundaries around people who drain or confuse your energy. Venus exposes where you've been emotionally used, ignored, or taken for granted. Your intuition becomes sharp, cinematic, and impossible to dismiss. The moon frees you from emotional ghosts you've been carrying for years. Cancer. Leo, the full moon in Gemini is in your 11th house of friendships and networks. The full moon exposes the true emotional dynamics in your friendships and social circles. Mars trining the moon gives you the fire to cut off energy thieves, jealous friends, and fake loyalty. Pluto will reveal the hidden competition, envy, or silent rivalry behind the scenes. Jupiter makes someone's true colors too loud to ignore. Mercury and Saturn forces overdue loyalty conversations or group decisions. Venus shows up for you to see who values you and who benefits from your generosity without giving back. A new alliance steps forward once you remove the dead weight. Your circle gets smaller, but your power multiplies. Virgo, the full moon in Gemini is in your 10th house of career and legacy. The full moon highlights your career path, reputation, and long-term calling. Mercury and Saturn forces clarity around work responsibilities, contracts, or expectations. Pluto exposes hidden workplace politics, secret resentment, or quiet sabotage. Jupiter opens new opportunities, but removes any foundation built from stress or sacrifice. Mars boosts your ambition, motivation, and professional courage. Venus reveals where emotional labor has been replacing fair recognition. Someone at work shows their real attitude or allegiance. The moon marks a career turning point, Virgo, and you rise by telling the truth. Libra, the full moon in Gemini is in your 9th house of truth and expansion. The full moon shakes your beliefs, worldview, and understanding of your life path. The sun opposite the moon forces you to choose honesty over keeping the peace. Jupiter pushes you towards travel, study, legal progress, or a new horizon. Mercury and Saturn drags applications, documents, or official matters into its final stages. Pluto exposes manipulation disguised as helpful advice or guidance. Mars gives you the nerve to challenge outdated beliefs and claim a new philosophy. Someone's reaction to your truth reveals everything you need to know. Libra, this moon expands your reality and shrinks your patience for any form of nonsense. As you realize, common sense is not a flower that grows in everyone's garden. Scorpio, the full moon in Gemini is in your 8th house of power and intimacy. The moon exposes emotional ties, shared finances, secrets, and intimacy wounds. Pluto reveals the real motive behind someone's desire, jealousy, or a need for control. Neptune exposes hidden lies, emotional hooks, or spiritual entanglements. Jupiter expands a financial truth or power dynamic you can no longer ignore. Venus reveals mismatched loyalty, intimacy disconnects, or unbalanced exchanges. Mars gives you the strength to cut the trauma bonds and end karmic ties. Heavy emotional weight lifts as truth replaces fear. Scorpio, this moon returns your power to you without negotiation. Sagittarius, the full moon in Gemini is in your 7th house of partnerships. The full moon reveals the truth about romantic and business partnerships. The sun opposite the moon exposes relationships imbalances you've been ignoring. Mercury and Saturn forces overdue conversations and clear decisions. Pluto exposes resentment, control, patterns, or hidden feelings. Jupiter accelerates choices. Stay, leave, redefine, or renegotiate. Venus reveals emotional mismatch and expectations that no longer fit. Someone finally shows you who they truly are. Sagittarius, this moon resets your relationship, path, and truth. Capricorn, the full moon in Gemini is in your 6th house of work and health. The full moon exposes routines, roles, and responsibilities draining your energy. Mercury and Saturn forces you to address structure, burnout, and unsustainable work patterns. Pluto reveals hidden tension or politics in your work environment. Jupiter magnifies stress until you make necessary changes. Venus exposes where self-worth has been replaced with overthinking. Mars pushes you towards healthier routine and clear boundaries. Sudden schedule shifts reveal truth you've overlooked. Capricorn, this moon demands balance. Your body is done negotiating. Aquarius, the full moon in Gemini is in your 5th house of love and self-expression. The full moon exposes truth about romance, desire, creativity, and joy. Pluto awakens passion, confidence, and magnetism or expression. Saturn and Mercury forces clarity in love, dating, and creative projects. Jupiter reveals secret attractions or risks you sense in them. Venus exposes mismatched desire or creative imbalance. Mars gives you the courage to express your heart directly. A romantic or creative revelation shifts your path. Aquarius, this moon unlocks your joy, passion, and your true voice. Pisces, the full moon in Gemini is in your 4th house of home and roots. The full moon exposes family truths, emotional patterns, and domestic realities. Neptune rips down illusions and shows what is real underneath. Jupiter magnifies a change or decision involving your home or living environment. Pluto brings ancestral clarity and breaks generational patterns. Venus reveals emotional equality or unspoken resentment within family dynamics. Mars helps you reclaim your space, authority, and peace. The atmosphere at home shifts abruptly as truth replaces tension. Pisces, this moon frees you from emotional programming that you never chose. Until we meet again on these astrological streets, big cow wave.